writing process was much quicker, much more efficient, much more cost effective. Obviously, you know, a band like Fear Factory has always embraced the technology from the beginning.
Right.
We've always been open about it. We've always talked about it. We've always talked about, you know, guys like Reese Fulber helping us out ever since Fear is the Mind Killer, which was after Soul for the Machine. You know, we've embraced all that. So most people are saying, well, you know, them using drum programming is no different because it doesn't really sound any different.
Right.
You know what I mean? They can expect it from a band like Fear Factory. Again, it's very cost effective. The way music is going today, you know, a lot of people don't really make much money anymore in it, you know, unless you're a big radio band or something like that. But for metal bands like us, you know, we make most of our money just on touring and selling merchandise. You know, as far as CDs and stuff like that, you know, and record companies are not giving much advances anymore. So you have to find ways to cut corners, you know, financially, and try to save money. So, but this is nothing new for us, again, at the same time. Because when me and Bert first did our first demo back in 1990, it was with a drum machine. We did 3 songs, and it was with a drum machine. It was just me and Bert in our apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, and Bert was singing in the bathroom to get that reverb effect. And a friend of ours named John Fenton, who was a manager for a lot of bands. Anyways, he had an 8-track recorder, and we did everything. Yeah, I did guitar and bass. We used a little Boss Dr. Rhythm drum machine, and Bert sang in the shower. And that's how it was.
Nice.
So it's nothing new for us. I mean, we started that way. Then, obviously, other people came in, and then we kind of progressed into a more metal band, you know, death metal band, but we did have some industrial elements, you know what I mean? You know, Bert, obviously, with his melodic vocals, which inspired bazillions of bands. And then it wasn't until we met Reese Fulber and, you know, we did the remix album Fear is the Mind Killer,
Right.
which was in 1992. And that was when we were like, okay, Reese can afford all this technology. Let's bring it in and let's embrace it and let's use it. And ever since then, we've always gotten criticized for it. We've always gotten criticized because most metal fans, they just don't. They at the time, back in '92, it was not really well known in metal to do that kind of stuff. But I'll put it this way: it wasn't really spoken about.
Right.
You know, I mean, bands have used other members and other stuff, you know, samplers and stuff like that, to do certain things, but they just never talked about it. They never brought it to anybody's attention. We embraced it, and that was kind of like always been our concept. A lot of bands are using, you know, laptop. I call them the laptop, you know, laptop kids. They're just writing music on laptops, and then, you know, you hear a lot of people's music today. The Browning, they're one of the bands that we brought on tour with us. The guy was just telling me that, you know, most of the stuff was done on a drum program as well on their laptops. Every band you can think of are doing it nowadays. Fear Factory is still Fear Factory. No matter how much more of these elements that we incorporate into our music, it's still Fear Factory. It's still got the mechanical vibe to it. It's still got the machine gun riffs, killer double bass, and of course Bert's great vocals. So it's always going to appeal to those metal fans, I think. Still sort of a mechanical feel to it. I mean, you know, conceptually, there still was, you know what I mean? But it was more of just what's going on right now. And we've always incorporated that stuff in all of our records of what's going on right now. Like Demanufacture, for instance. We had riots, Rodney King riots. We had fires. We had floods. We had earthquakes.
Right.
All within that time. All within that period of like 1992 to 1994. So when Demanufacture came along, that was the perfect title for what was going on where we were at, where we lived in LA. You know what I mean? And we just saw the destruction that was going on around us. I mean, thousands and thousands of acres were being burned. People's homes were being, you know, burned. Then we had floods because all the trees that would normally block the water, and people's houses were sliding down the hill, you know what I mean? And then we've had earthquakes, you know, and all the land had been loosened because of all the floods and fires, and then it just was destruction. And it was like, okay, maybe it was Mother Nature's way of saying get rid of the old and come out with something new. That's when demanufacture came along, and that was just the perfect theme, title, and everything, and sound for that moment. Soul of a New Machine was a record that started it. Demanufacture was a record that changed it. There's a kind of a big contradiction in Obsolete, because when we did the record Obsolete, we used a lot of technology, but we wanted it to make it sound as human as possible. So it kind of, in some ways, Obsolete kind of had a more organic, natural feeling, a darker kind of tone. You know what I mean? Whereas Demanufacture had this fucking like just cold, bleak, fucking into the world fucking type of tone to it. You know, like a well-oiled steel machine. You know what I mean? Surgical steel machine. Then Obsolete, we just wanted to go more organic, but we wanted to incorporate a concept, because we had been talking about it for years. You know, we would love to do it, but we've done so much touring on those records that we just finding the time was always hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it wasn't until Obsolete that Bert actually sat down and wrote a concept for it. And basically, all the technology that man has created to help him turned against him, and man was becoming obsolete. And it's still that way today. Like radio DJs, they don't exist anymore. It's all programmed. Like the automobile corporations, it's all machines. I mean, computers have taken control over our job situations. That's why a lot of people are out of jobs. Fuck, why do I need to hire you? I can just fucking program it on a computer.
Exactly.
The same thing with using a drone program on the record.
Exactly.
Why do I need to pay some guy, $15,000 when I can just do it?
Right.
I can do it for
it's like, we already got this box that'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you just have to adapt to the times.
Noise in the machine, a world of lies, backfires on you.
Yes, Bert did a bunch of, sketches of what he visioned. I don't know how many pages it's over 20 pages. True fans who are into that will really get into the story and stuff like that. Awesome. And maybe, have their own opinions about it, which we're hoping that people do,
Of course.
Yeah. And then, it's something to talk about. It's really cool. We don't want to divulge too much, because then I'm just telling you the whole story and you don't got to go read it.
Invoking God, despite enemies, judgment time.
Well, Gene is busy. Death Clock's his main band. So whenever Death Clock calls, that's what he does.
That's it.
As you know, Gene's in everybody's band.
That's true.
He's not just in our band. We just happen to be lucky and have him for that 1 year.
Okay.
He's excellent. He's an excellent drummer. He's probably the best drummer I know. And Byron, me and Bert took a year off, and Byron decided to join 3 Inches of Blood, and so that's where he went. So me and Burton decided we're just going to hire a couple other guys. We got Matt DeVries from Chimera.
Right.
And we got Mike Heller from a band called Malignancy. And excellent musicians. Well, we'll see. We'll see how Mike and Matt work out when we do another record. We'll see when that time comes. Should we have like a big old Terminator like Eddie from Iron Maiden come out?
People would expect that, though.
A lot of that has to do with money as well. You know what I mean? There's cheap ways of doing it, but unfortunately, this day and age, we don't have that kind of money to afford that kind of technology. And we would love to have a video wall behind us,
right?
But that's like really expensive to rent and just to put together. Well, the only bands that I'm really focusing on right now is Fear Factory, Divine Heresy, and Assassino.
Okay.
And Assassino, we're halfway done with the record, and Divine Heresy, we got 5 songs. I believe that my style is my style. You're going to hear it in everything I do. You know what I mean? But whenever you're working on a project, the main thing is you just have to try to focus on that theme. Like, for instance, Assassino, it's kind of more death metal, horror, satanic, a little bit of that, a little bit of filthiness in there. And so we just try to write stuff that's just fun and not really think about it too much. We just try to write stuff that's going to be catchy and fun and fit into the concept of that style of music. When we're doing Divine Heresy, that's much faster. It's much more technical. A lot more noodling on the guitar.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we keep it that way. You know what I mean? And then obviously Fear Factory is more mechanical, more cold, more bleak, more futuristic, just, repetitive riffs and fast picking. Somebody's actually building me an 11-string guitar, believe it or not. I have a friend in Poland making me one.
No kidding.
One of the cool things about using the 8-string guitar is that you can actually, I haven't done it yet, but you can actually transpose all the records. Because on each record there's different tunings.
Right.
Like Soul Machine demanufactures B tuning, Obsolete, Digimortal, Mechanized, and all this stuff is in A.
Right.
And then the Industrialist is in A as well, but there's also F sharp in some of those, which that's where the 8-string comes in. But the cool thing is that you can play all those songs on one guitar.
Awesome.
But
I play.
You have to totally rethink of how you wrote those songs because you got to change them because the notes are in different spots now.
Right. Well,
but I don't do that. Like when I travel overseas, I'll just take the 8-string and maybe one 7-string, and that's with the 8-string I can do most of the set. I'm more of a 7-string guy than I am an 8-string. 8-strings are usually, I usually only have it on 1 or 2 songs on a record.
Okay. So it was more of just an experiment to use it on Mechanized than it was actually.
Yeah, just to go for some lower tunings or something really different. There was a point where it started to become trendy. So we stopped doing it. Obviously, when something becomes really trendy, people overdo it and just kill it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we kind of stayed somewhat away from that. I mean, there is dubstep elements, but there's not dubstep.
Right.
In some of the remixes that we have on the B-sides that are going to be in certain packaging and different packages. Like Japan will get different stuff, and Europe will get different stuff, and the US will get different stuff. We have to split it up. Each territory always wants something different. Australia wants something different. Japan wants something. We don't want the same to the US, so you got to give us something different. So it's always like that. Hopefully, I'm sure you'll find them online somewhere. Most of the stuff might not get released till who knows when. Might be saved for a movie or a video game or something. We did so many video games. I think we hold the record for the most songs on video games.
Nice.
It was over 30. There's a lot of offers for small time movies, commercials, some video games, some just online video games. You know what I mean? Stuff you just download on your PC computer, stuff like that. But we have always been a part of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're open to any of that stuff. Touring. We're pretty much booked all the way up to December 18th. We're going to be flying over to Europe, and we start all the summer festival tours in Europe up until July. I'm sorry, till into June. Come home, then we do the Shockwave tour, which starts in July. Then after that, it goes up all the way up to mid-August. After that, we have another couple weeks off. Then we do Japan, Australia, New Zealand, come back. We do another European tour with us and Devin Townsend, which starts in October, November, or late October, November, and part of December. Our routine is typical for us. It's just make sure you pack the necessities. Baby wipes is a necessity because you don't always get showers, so you got to use baby wipes.
True.
Make sure you pack enough socks, underwear. You can wear the same pants or same shorts. For us guys, we wear it for a few days. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But you got to change your underwear and your socks and stuff like that. That's pretty much how I prepare for a tour. We're in the front lounge. We're all hanging out, partying, having some drinks. Some of the guys decide to drink Jack Daniels, right? And I was like, oh God, it's so nasty. Anyway, so there's a guy who sleeps above me in my bunk, and I sleep in the middle bunk, and he was getting up in his bunk, and he went,
Ooh.
all over my bunk. And I was like, I came to open my curtain to go to sleep, and I was like, I had all this throw up on my fucking hands.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh.
Rock and roll, man.
But you know what? I was so fucked up. I went to sleep, and I woke up with throw up on my arm, and I said, fuck it. And luckily, he was nice enough to wash everything. I had to take a shower.
Hope so.
I had to take a shower, and it stank pretty bad.
Oh man.
Those are the things that happen when you're on tour.